Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and I am back at it here to complete the Disney Plus wave. This is the Captain America Flight Gear Build-A-Figure wave, the MCU full wave. Here we have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier's very own Baron Zemo. This is the first MCU figure for Baron Zemo, so I am very excited. We get the masked head and the unmasked head. We also get the Hydra Winter Soldier red book there, and he has his gold gun. In the show, of course, it was actually a realistic gun, where this one does not really look realistic. Comes with another wing piece for Captain America. Side artwork of Baron Zemo looking very cool in the mask. Here on the back of the package we get the same promo images of Baron Zemo, the Captain America Flight Gear Build-A-Figure, which has the wings and the stand and Red Wing. So we've looked at Scarlet Witch, Vision, Loki, Winter Soldier, and U.S. Agent. Now we're on to Baron Zemo, and then the next review will actually be Captain America, and will be the wings and the figure all in one, instead of doing a separate video just for the wings. So that might be a little bit of a longer one, so heads up on that. The bio for Baron Zemo reads, Baron Zemo, the Sokovian Special Forces officer who targeted the Avengers, has been rotting in a German prison, but recent events will reignite him with a ferocity. That's kind of a generic one. I mean, no mention of him getting broken out of jail with the help of Bucky and things like that. But anyway, I'm excited. Let's get this thing opened up. Okay, so here is the Baron Zemo figure out of the package, and I think this is going to be one of the more popular figures of the wave, and I'm going to be honest with you, it actually leaves me a little bit disappointed. A couple of things. The head sculpt is really good. Even the masked version is good. It's not great, but the unmasked version is really cool. I like that we get the Winter Soldier book. That is a nice touch. The jacket looks really good. There's a little bit of some shading in the fur to kind of give it some color, texture, detail, but even in the show there wasn't a whole lot of like a leopard print or anything in there too much, but it would have been nice if there was, you could see some spots in that fur. It's screen accurate, which is great, but there's some things that I don't like about it, mainly because it is not the same legs as the Loki figure, which used the same legs as the young Nick Fury body, but this is the old school suited body, the same as like the Phil Coulson suited body, the same legs, which are really thin and doesn't stand well, so I have some problems with that. So it's just disappointing that that's the route that they went, when they could have used these legs, which are a little bit more sturdy. It allows for a better, allows the figure to stand a little bit better, as I couldn't get Loki to stand. So it's just that. It's just a choice that, you know, I wish Hasbro didn't do. But, I mean, I guess it is what it is. It's just unfortunate. And then the other thing is, when we have figures that have something going over them, like this jacket, for instance, the torso becomes very narrow to an almost unrealistic proportion. Now, with the jacket on, looks fantastic. If you were to take the jacket off, which you shouldn't, and, you know, overall, it's not really going to change anything, but, you know, if you were to take it off, his torso would look very, very narrow and look a little bit odd. The figure that comes to mind the most that had an issue like that, I would say, was the Heimdall figure from the Bro Thor wave. Just kind of weird, in my opinion. But anyway, let's zoom in. We'll take a look at the few accessories that he comes with, and take a look at those two different head sculpts that he has. Okay, so first up is going to be the Winter Soldier book. So as you can see here, now one thing, it has a nice leathery look to it, which is really cool. But the reason why is because the plastic that they used, it's hard for me to tell if it's like the marbleization that we get with like metallic colors, or if they actually just did some random lighter red paint throughout the book. But it looks just kind of odd. I want to say it's marbleization. So I think it just kind of works out in its favor on here, because it kind of gives it that leathery bound look to it, which makes for a good looking book. But it's hard for me to tell if that's paint or if that's just straight marbleization. If you guys have one, do you kind of see that same pattern in there, or is it just me? You guys let me know down in the comments below. Out of the package, he has a trigger finger hand or holding hand there on his right, and then his left is a pointing finger hand. As you can see, he's wearing like purple and black gloves. He also comes with one set of interchangeable hand, which are both fists for the right and the left. He comes with a wing piece for the Captain America's flight gear. We'll stick that off to the side. He does come with a golden gun, as you can see here. And again, it is a very futuristic looking laser gun. It is not a realistic looking pistol at all. And it's kind of unfortunate that they kind of played it up big that he had a golden gun. but in the show, he didn't really get to use it a whole lot, or if at all, if I'm trying to remember correctly. So it would have been nice to see if he would have used it on screen or something, but not screen accurate there, looking futuristic. And then, of course, we have the two different head sculpts, which we will take a look at now. Okay, so first, the unmasked Daniel Bruhl head sculpt for Baron Zemo looks really good. So head on, I think it looks really good, but looking at it, like right there, that is crazy how good that likeness is of him from the side profile shot. I mean, straight on, yes, it looks good, but damn, look at that. Crazy how good that looks. Would have been nice if we gotten some kind of 5 o'clock shadow or something in there, showing a little bit of facial hair. I think it really would have set this apart, but still looks really, really damn good. And then we get the interchangeable head. And one thing that's weird with it is on a dumbbell joint, by the way. If you look on the inside of the head sculpt, what they did is, because you see his eyes and the skin tone there, it's a glued piece on the inside. So it's a little soft on the mask portion of the head sculpt. So it's kind of interesting how that worked out. But you pop it on there, and it just, well, that doesn't look good. So I don't know if this is an issue on mine, but it doesn't want to really sit nicely on there. You really have to move it back. So I guess it hides the fact that, like, he doesn't have a neck. And the face just looks a little undersized for me. So when you look at, like, this head sculpt, how wide his cheeks are, and then look at the mask wouldn't tighten it up that much. So that's just kind of an odd choice. And then if you look real closely, the way it is, the eyes portions are really recessed back. So that just doesn't look too realistic where his eyes are to where his nose is. So I understand the choice and how they did it and why they did it. I think the execution just isn't realistic looking to what they would have hoped for. And for the masked version, I was hoping for a little bit more. It's just the size, I think, just looks kind of funky. And I actually just prefer this, because I think the Daniel Bruhl portrait head sculpt just came out looking so good. The masked version isn't really necessary, because it's kind of weird, and I think you have to have it in hand to really notice, how odd that looks. Seeing his eyes pushed back so far, and then the nose, because you could see a little gap kind of inside there, so it's just really weird. So I messed with it a little bit more to see if I could put the head sculpt down, and no, that's how it sits on there. That's really, really bad. That does not look good at all, unless mine has some kind of defect and won't really go down further. That's how it looks. So, I mean, even there, right, it's like all off to the side instead of on his neck where he should have it. So if you get it in the right position, it looks good, but then when you get it in the wrong spot, it's just like, well, what the hell? Like, that's bad. Really, really bad looking. Actually, you pop the Daniel Bruhl head sculpt back on there. I think sometimes the jacket could kind of ride up and the collar is going to kind of hide it, but even there, that's really, really exposed. It's not often that you see a figure that really shows a gap between the neck and where the head sculpt is, but damn, when you see it, it's just like, what was going on? Like, why couldn't they, made the neck either longer or put the ball peg to where it doesn't go so far into the head sculpt? But, straight on, good. Side, okay. It's angled, good. But the side, that's just really, really bad. Looks bad. So looking at the rest of the figure, it's hard to kind of really see the little shading and wash that's in the fur, but there is a little faint hint of it in there. The jacket is done in this like really darkish blue looking color, so not really black. I mean, you can almost call it a gray, I would say. The inside lining of the collar here actually has a little bit of purple tint to it, so that is a nice touch. Looking at the suit, from what we could tell in the show, that is very show accurate to how his shirt looked, but again, it looks pretty narrow if you ask me. Just the pants, so the hip joint looks to be new because he's got this belt buckle there, but again, these lower legs from that thigh cut down, it's the same suited body legs, but I believe we have new shoes, but the way the ankles are, it's going to be tough to kind of work around that. But the sculpt of the jacket looks really nice, though. Came out looking really, really good. Look at all the sculpted lines in that rubber jacket. So I am impressed with the jacket, but just the figure overall, I am left disappointed. But let's zoom out for his articulation. Okay, so Baron Zemo, he can look down somewhat with that dumbbell joint. He can look up a little bit. You get a swivel, insane amount of pivot every which way. There, you can get the shoulder to come up Ooh, I'm stressing out that plastic. You can only get the shoulder to go up that high, which is a little disappointing. You get a full rotation, of course. You have an upper bicep swivel. You have a double jointed elbow that is pinless. It gives you that much bend, which is really good. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge. However, the hands are pushed down into the cuff, the sleeve of the coat, so you're not going to get a whole lot of use out of there. You have an ab crunch. You can crunch forward a little bit. You can crunch back somewhat, but the jacket is then going to hinder that. You have a waist swivel in there. Ooh, my leg's about to pop off, it seems. So the jacket kind of gets in the way, but you can do the legs that far apart. You can kick forward that much. You have an upper thigh cut in there. You have a double jointed knee, like so there. There is no calf swivel or ankle swivel or even no ankle swivel, calf swivel, boot swivel, none of that. Foot hinges down a little bit and then bends the shoe and then up tiny bit because that foot hits the pant leg. There is some pivot that you have to work around and little peg holes at the bottom of the feet, which almost don't even work because you could see how thin that foot is. And that's a problem that happens with these suited bodies, with the pant legs on the suited body. Just not a fan overall. Okay, so here we have Baron Zemo, and the MCU version and the comic version. And I'm sticking with the comic version on this one, and I'm an MCU guy. This figure just disappoints me. Happy to have it, don't get me wrong. It's all about, a lot of it's about character selection for me with the MCU figures, but yeah, I'm just not overall pleased with the execution of the figure, but happy to have the character, happy to have this look. I just wish for better, if that makes sense, but you guys can let me know down in the comments below which of these two do you like more. So just real quick, because I'm starting to gather all the figures from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so you could see them all side by side. So taking a quick look at this, when I talk about undersize and a figure being too narrow, look at the size difference compared to these two figures. Like, it is insane how bad proportion and scale wise these figures are together. US Agent, I really like the figure, but he's actually just too big based on the actor from the show, which I don't always necessarily care about. I mean, I do want show accuracy, but when a figure's a little bit bulky, I guess it's not the end of the world. But then when you see it next to here, it's like a couple of things. I think Baron Zemo is too small. I think US Agent is too big, bulk-wise. Maybe height might be okay, but just, I mean, look, you could put Baron Zemo in front of US Agent, and you're still gonna basically see him, and it's just, this guy's wearing a big-ass trench coat, and US Agent's still wider than this guy. So that's my biggest complaint with this guy. It's just not, I want more from it, and Hasbro could give us better. They could do better. They just didn't in this particular one, so it's unfortunate. Okay, so now the three figures that I've reviewed so far for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, these two don't look so bad together, and it looks a better proportion. I still think Zemo is a little too narrow. He should be a little bit bulkier, but then the US Agent just a little too big. Still a very good looking figure, and definitely my favorite of the three. But it's just, when having them in hand, it's just really noticeable. So, you know, we were all excited that the Baron Zemo figure would be coming, but I'm not as excited anymore. You know, it's unfortunate. I'm again happy to have the character. It's just, you know, the figure, I just wish for more. Okay, so my final thoughts. I think I've kind of probably said it and said it multiple times over. Disappointed, but happy to have the character. So if you're an MCU action figure fan, this is one that you're going to want to pick up, because who knows if we're going to get another Zemo figure. If Thunderbolts end up happening in the MCU, we likely will. And if that's the case, I hope they don't just re-release the same figure. I hope there is some tweaks and updates to it. A better masked head sculpt, a bulkier figure, just overall look a little bit better to go in scale with some of the other MCU figures. Time will tell, we shall see. But you guys let me know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on this Baron Zemo figure? Are you happy with it? Are you disappointed? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys liked the video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.